Hello, everyone, and I hope you're all well. My name is Tadagenais, and I'm the host of Self-Sabotage Solutions. On this podcast, it's my opportunity and my pleasure to be able to share everything I know about self-sabotage so that you can overcome self-sabotage in your own life. And a big part of overcoming self-sabotage is understanding how our mind works and how we are influenced. And so today, I'll be sharing with you some very, very important information on the subconscious mind. So I'm going to be sharing 9 different things you need to know about the subconscious mind if you want to overcome self-sabotage. So, first, before we go into the subconscious mind, let's talk a little bit about the conscious mind because understanding the 2 different parts of our mind is very important. There we have the conscious part of our mind, and the conscious part of our mind is known for, its ability to dream, its ability to critically think, its ability to think long term. So what do I mean by that? Well, this part of our mind is known for like daydreaming and thinking about our goals and our aspirations, and it's usually thinking long term, like what our plans are and what our goals are. Then we have the subconscious mind, and this part of your mind is more short term thinking. This part of your mind is more illogical because it doesn't really think about things as good or bad. It just thinks about things as what is the most familiar and what is the safest option to do in this moment. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. So the way it does this is it's actually constantly scanning the environment. It's constantly scanning the environment, trying to pick out the safest thing for it to do. And every time it notates, oh, this thing is safe. This thing is, or this thing has been repeated in our environment. This thing I've seen multiple times. This thing is being reinforced by the group. Every time it sees something like that, it will notch it up higher as a safe thing to do. So this part of your mind is a very powerful part of your mind. It holds about 90% of your total brain power, 90 to 95% depending on who you ask. And so this part of your mind is actually scanning the environment, like I was telling you, at 11 million pieces of information a second, depending on what studies you're looking at. But it's around 11 million pieces of information per second. And you're like, wow, that is a ton, right? Guess how much your conscious mind is scanning at? The part of your mind that everyone is using logically to think for their dreams and goals. It's about 40 pieces of information a second. So you can tell there's a huge difference already just between the 2 parts of our minds, right? And this part of your mind, the subconscious, it's using all that information that it's downloading at 11 million pieces of information per second, and it is creating the essentially like the plays that we're going to be doing throughout the day, or the actions that we're going to be doing throughout the day. It's creating what's called what I like to call a safe card, and these safe cards are safe things you can do. So imagine you're playing like an Uno, right? And you draw this safe card, and you're like, oh man, I am safe. I can play this and feel good and feel safe within society, feel safe within the constructs of this game, right? So what you need to understand is this part of your mind creates these safe cards, and then it uses it to influence you to take a certain action or have a certain thought or have a certain urge. And this part of your mind is very, very, very capable of being able to influence us to do certain things. And so what you need to understand is that often what it's influencing us to do is not something that we had a goal of. Like we weren't consciously thinking, oh, we want to be healthier, and this part of your mind is influencing you to be healthier. That's not how it works. If your surroundings are full of people eating healthy and healthy food, then that is what your subconscious mind is going to be drawn to. But the majority of the time, and in our society especially, your subconscious mind is constantly picking up that data, and that data is not supporting something for eating healthy. It is supporting something for fast food, for junk food, for processed foods, because it's seeing all those advertisements. It's seeing all the lines at the McDonald's, at the fast food restaurants. It's seeing people in the grocery store walking out with grocery carts full of just garbage food. And every time it sees this, it says, wow, everyone else is eating this way. we should probably eat this way as well. And so you'll start to get urges and cravings for those things. And, you know, you might end up wanting to eat that ice cream or that pizza, or you might start having a major urge to go out to McDonald's or go get a cheeseburger and French fries from McDonald's, right? So that's how this part of your mind works. It's actually constantly scanning the environment. It's 24/7, and even when we're sleeping, it is picking up on the things that we hear, because what you need to understand is this part of your mind, its main job is to keep us safe. And that's what, it's not that it's broken. And that's, I think we need to understand that, because a lot of people think that there's something wrong with them, and that's why they're going after the things that they don't really want to do in life, right? They want to eat healthier, they want to start working out, they want to start working on their business, they want to do all these things. But this part of their mind has a different goal, and that's where they're encountering that self-sabotage, or what people like to call self-sabotage, because they know they want to do something, they tell themselves they're going to do something, and then they go and do the totally opposite, because their subconscious mind has a different safeguard, it has a different goal or objective. It doesn't care if, being healthy is going to make us feel better. It doesn't care if being healthy is going to make us look better. It doesn't care if, being healthy is going to make us live longer, because all it cares about is what is the most familiar, what is the safest card to play within our society. And so there are ways to actually reprogram this part of your mind so that something else is safe. And that's really what you need to start to understand. I'll go over some of the things that you can do. It really has to do with understanding how your subconscious mind works, right? So I'll be going over some of those things that you can do so that you can reprogram your subconscious mind for something better. So how does it have the ability to influence our actions and thoughts, right? How come it can give us the urges and the feelings and the constant thoughts back into our head? Well, first of all, it controls all bodily systems. So what you need to know is, when you have the urge to go to the bathroom, when you have the urge to eat, when you have the urge for whatever, right? Your subconscious mind is the one that's providing that. So your subconscious mind is actually, can send you those thoughts to want to eat that McDonald's, to want to eat the ice cream. It can make you still feel hungry, and it's very important you understand that. Now, I think the subconscious mind, it's not a bad part of your mind, right? Like I said before, it is there to protect you. It's like a big, like 100-pound gorilla, or 400-pound gorilla that doesn't understand what is good from bad, but it understands what is most safe. And its job is to keep you safe. So it will do everything in its power and push you around so that you are safe. Or like a giant big brother of yours that maybe isn't very smart, but he's very powerful and able to push you and try to keep you safe to the best of his ability. And so that's what this part of your mind is constantly doing, constantly scanning, ferociously scanning the environment, trying to find out the best thing for you to do within your life to keep you safe. So it's always listening and learning, no matter what, right? It's 24/7. So if you are falling asleep with the TV on, this part of your mind is listening to that. This part of your mind is recording that. It's like a record player, right? This part of your mind is constantly recording. This part of your mind is downloading all that data onto a hard drive, and then doing the matching game to say, how many times can I match this same thing? Oh, and we matched it a lot of times. This thing's pretty safe. Oh, there's a whole group of people doing this thing. Oh man, that's even more safe. Oh, hey, look, you know, this person got rewarded for doing this thing. This person got congratulated when they ate this way, or when they played the video games, or when they did whatever, right? That's such a good thing to do. Oh, this person got ridiculed for doing this. Oh, we should not do that. We don't want to be ridiculed from the group, from our tribe, because that will actually make things work, right? This is how your subconscious mind is thinking, and this is how your subconscious mind is deciding what is the safest option to do. So anything that's repeated, anything that's done by a group, anything that gets positive reinforcement, it will start to go towards. Anything that's done by an authority figure. So what's an authority figure, right? It is the government, it is a doctor, it is your parents, it is a teacher, it is someone possibly like me who's on a screen and you are perceiving as an expert or a source of information for you. And I think it's important we note that there is some colors that your subconscious mind has perceived and um, has like grown accustomed to know as authority, right? Colors red and blue, and yes, you'll see me wearing blue often. Um, Partially because I really like the color, but partially because I know that it can be very impactful on our minds. So where does this colors blue and red come from, or where do we have them in society? We have news people wearing them, right? We have our news um, people always wearing something red or blue, or in the background of what they're doing, red or blue. We have our police with the colors red and blue. Their lights red and blue. You see the flashing red and blue, you know it's authority. You need to stop, right? You you see it on our presidents and our government officials. You see the Republicans red, the Democrats blue. You see them having blue and red ties on, blue suits, red ties, red, and you never really see a red suit, but you usually see a blue suit with a red tie or a blue suit with a blue tie, right? Because they know that this part of your mind has grown accustomed to see that blue and red as something that is very powerful. So keep an eye out for that. Whenever you see a blue and red, think about it. Are they trying to show me that, they are an authority figure? Are they trying to convince my subconscious mind that this is an authority situation? So the next thing you need to think about regarding, um, or the next thing that you're actually, sorry, the next thing that your subconscious mind is constantly deciding if something is safe or not is if something gets negatively reinforced, that means that your subconscious mind is going to try to avoid it, right? Like I said before, if you kick someone and you get ridiculed for it and attacked for it, then you'll be less likely to do it. But if you end up kicking a dog or something and you see a bunch of other kids laughing, or one kid kicks a dog and a bunch of other kids start laughing and joining in and saying yeah yeah yeah, as horrible as that is, your subconscious mind is going to start to think, hey, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing. And this is much more impactful to us, I must say, when we are children, because when we are children, our mind is in a what's called a theta state. There's different brain waves that your brain can be in. And when we're children, our brains are often within a theta state between the ages of 2 and 7. And this part of this state is kind of like a hypnosis state, essentially. This is the same state that your brain will go into when you are in like a deep hypnosis. And so what you need to know about the theta state is that it makes it so your subconscious mind is hyperactive, and it's constantly, even more than 11,000 pieces of information a second, trying to pick up on the information. So that's why kids are able to learn so quickly, because they're in that theta state where they are literally recording and reprogramming their subconscious mind. Because what you got to understand is that kids between the ages of 2 and 7 have to learn how to fit in with society so they can survive. This is the survival mechanism that our subconscious mind is built for. So if you are alive today and you're past ages of 7, congratulations, your subconscious mind did its work. It did its job and its duty to keep you alive. But the problem is that after a certain age, we need to go through a certain ceremony, a certain adult ritualistic kind of thing that can help us realize that we don't need that safety anymore. We need to move towards our goals. We need to move towards health, towards wealth, towards success, and forego some of the things we might have learned. So ancient societies used to have methods like this. So one that comes to mind is the Spartans, where they would literally, once a boy became of age, I think it was age of 16, maybe it was 14, they would literally outcast those boys into the wild and have them try to survive. If they were able to survive, they could come back into the group. And they did this because they knew that this part of your mind, the subconscious mind, would continue to use those old programs that it learned instead of allowing you to use your conscious mind more to your ability. And I think that's important. And I'm not sure what we could do as far as a new for our our society, what we could do to help boys do that or help women and men as well, you know, come into their adult selves. But I think a big part that could help it is just understanding the subconscious mind and understanding how we're programmed, and then using the good things, and using the way that the subconscious mind is influenced in our favor. And so that brings me to my next point, that the subconscious mind can't really tell the difference between fiction and reality. So if everything that you're listening to or watching or seeing through your eyes and hearing through your ears, your subconscious mind is learning from it. So that could be the television, it could be your phone, it could be your computer screen, it could be an audio book, it could be the people around you, it could be your friends and family, it could be society in general, it could be the songs you're listening to. So all of these things have an impact on us. It doesn't matter if it's not real. Your subconscious mind can't tell the difference. Remember, it's not a logical part of your mind. It just understands um, what is familiar and what is safe, really. So this part of your mind is scanning the television. And something you should know as well about the television is the subconscious mind, or your mind in general, has been proven to go into a theta state when you're watching television. This means that you're going to a state of hypnosis and you are being programmed. That's what they call it, TV programming, when you're watching the television. So you got to be very careful what you're watching. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the television shows, the movies, have been getting progressively darker, progressively negative, progressively showcasing worse people, like worse situations, broken relationships, drug abuse, broken families, self-defeating attitudes. All of these things, they're showcasing hypersexualized content, and that's been increasing. Go look at what television shows and movies were like 40 years ago or 30 years ago, right? They were so much different. And every like 5 years, almost every year, you notice. At least I have noticed that they've gotten darker. They've gotten more drastic. One place that I've noticed that gets has gotten really dark is a lot of Netflix TV shows. So if you look at those, they're usually very gory, very dark, very like ritualistic, like demonic kind of, very sexual, and these sorts of things have an impact on us. They'll drive us to be more negative in our lives, to be more sexualized in our lives, to crave certain things, and to be more desensitized to killing, to death, to drug abuse, to cheating on someone else, and allowing yourself to feel okay with that, because your subconscious mind has seen it played out time and time again, and your subconscious mind has also seen out those broken relationships, and so it thinks it's a normal thing to do. It thinks that to be part of society, we need to have broken relationships, and that's why I think a lot of our society is getting more and more broken, and we are going towards you know so much more like higher divorce rates and cheating scandals and so many much more dark things. Then you look at like the porn and our lives, and that has been getting darker and more vile, just vile in general. So if you are watching porn, I'd recommend stepping away from it. There's ways to get your sexual satisfaction met without porn, and most of the time, I'm not sure if you've noticed, that porn can actually make it so you aren't able to enjoy the actual thing as much because you've been programmed to see such extravagant and unusual behaviors within the sexual things, like the the urge to play with someone's butthole, or and sorry for the graphic scenery, but there's been a lot of things that have been going darker and darker and darker, and I think it's important that we address those things and bring them up, and don't avoid these things because they are affecting us. And once you understand how the subconscious mind works, you'll understand that all these things have an effect on us. Now, I want to talk about also for like the school shootings and things. I don't think it's necessary like you play a video game that has guns in it and you're instantly going to go start shooting people, right? Usually you'll be more programmed for a fight. And what I mean by that is oftentimes you might find that fight with picking a fight with your loved one, or with making fun of someone else, or doing something like that, picking a fight on the internet, right? Because you're being programmed for combat, for a fight, and when you don't get that that combat, that fight for that day, you might go fight something else, or fight something like your wife, and you're also more likely to fight yourself. And we see so much of this with people's negative language toward themselves, and self-abusive addictions, and self-abusive just actions in general, the way they eat and the way they treat themselves and the way they talk to themselves. So how can we start making a difference? If all these things are affecting us, how can we start to change our thoughts, and how can we start to make it so our subconscious mind is working towards something that we want consciously, like eating healthier, or working out so we can lose weight and get into better shape, or you know starting to work on a business so we can get out of the 9 to 5 job that we don't want to be in. How can we make it so that we can start working towards these things without encountering that self-sabotage? So what you got to do is change what's familiar in your life. And so this part of your mind, the subconscious, remember, it's constantly scanning your environment. So if it stops seeing certain things like unhealthy eating, if it stops seeing broken relationships all the time, and it starts to see better examples, it's going to start to be more drawn to those things. But it's important to note that, let's say you are starting to do a bit more of that, but you're still watching some TV shows that have a lot of those negative imagery in it. Your subconscious mind is going to be still drawn to those negative imageries because it's had so much more repetition and exposure to those things. That's why it's so important you start to cut out those things entirely and start to step away from those things. Otherwise, you're going to start to be drawn towards them again until you make the healthy actions and the things that you do want, uh, you know, more familiar than other ones. If you start reintroducing those negative things, you're gonna start going back to them much more quickly because you already have that pathway. And what what you got to understand is that when you are watching these things, when you're telling yourself a certain thing or like a belief or something, your brain has neural pathways, right? And it gets reinforced every time something like that happens. You get a connection built between this item and this item, between this thought and this way of thinking, right? And it gets reinforced. And what you gotta know is every time it's reinforced, it becomes an easier path for your mind to go down and to be drawn to. Because nature always follows the path of least resistance. The less resistance there is towards something, the easier it is for your subconscious mind to go down it, especially when it gets a reminder about that thing. So it's so important that you start to cut out these TV shows. You start to cut out these negative thinking, Um, you start to put distance between yourself and friends who don't want something better in life, who are being very negative, who are very pessimistic, and you don't have to cut off your time entirely from them, but you should be cautious of how it's affecting you, because there's a reason why peer pressure works, right? Peer pressure works because your subconscious mind is trying to fit in with the group. Remember, that's one of the things that your subconscious mind will notate as something safe to do if the group's doing it. And so the more people that are saying you should do it, the more people, if they're chugging the beers or taking shots, and everyone's like, yeah, yeah, go, go, go. You're instantly getting that positive reinforcement. The group's doing it. You see a whole bunch of people drinking all throughout the night. They're all having fun. Your subconscious mind's going to want to do that as well, right? And once you start to drink, once you start to alter your brain function, you actually start to turn off your conscious mind and you start to just rely on your subconscious mind. So it's important you understand that as well. Once you have impaired your function, once you have impaired your ability to function and your brain's capacity, then you're more stuck within the subconscious mind even more, and more likely to do things that don't consciously make sense. More likely to self-sabotage because you're thinking short term at that point. You're not thinking long term. How's this going to affect me, right? So when you are trying to reprogram your mind, there's there's some techniques you can do. So one of them you can do is create affirmations. And if you're trying to create affirmations, you got to understand some rules of the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind cannot interpret negatives. And what I mean by that is if you're trying to say, I am not fat, I am, you know, not going to eat this piece of chocolate cake, your subconscious mind doesn't really understand the not. So it's really hearing, I am fat, I'm going to eat this chocolate cake. So you got to start cutting out that language and instead say, I am choosing to eat healthy. I love my body. I love to treat my body right. And I choose to eat healthy food so that I feel better. So my body is able to heal. So my body is able to grow. I I let go of the chocolate cake. And actually it's probably even better just to not focus on chocolate cake at all, like I said, and focus on what you do want instead. Because the more that like, let's say, whenever you say the word chocolate cake, right? You get an image in your head of a piece of chocolate cake. Very likely, you do. Or if you say pizza, you get an image of pizza in your head, right? Because we're all very visual people, and our subconscious mind is drawn to those visualizations, just like as if it was a TV show or a movie. So instead of focusing on what you don't want, focus on what you do want. Avoid those negatives. And something else you can avoid the negatives is avoid, telling yourself negative things, right? I think that's a given at this point. So understand, so that your subconscious mind also understands commands in the present tense only. So you're saying in the future, I'm going to be in, tomorrow, I'm going to do this. In the future, I'm going to do this. Tomorrow and the future are always a day away, because tomorrow, when you get there, it's now. If it is tomorrow, like let's say you go to bed and wake up, then tomorrow's still the next day away. You're always got to do things in the now. So I am healthy now, or I am working towards health now. I am, every action I take is bringing me closer to health. Every action I take is with my health in mind. Use things like that. And if you make it more descriptive, you can paint more visualizations in your head. So you say, I am eagerly working towards finding my body's perfect weight. I am going to be a lean, muscular man, and I enjoy healthy leafy greens. I enjoy vibrant food. I enjoy food that rots and food that grows from the ground. I enjoy fresh food. So I'm sure you probably got some visualizations in your head with that, right? So that's what I mean by using the descriptive words. Make it so you paint a picture for your subconscious mind to be drawn to. And use that present tense. So say, I am in the present. Remember, we're always in the present. Its most important time is now. Your subconscious mind doesn't understand different times. It understands the now. So this part of your mind takes everything literally. So if you're making jokes at your own expense, if you're posting memes that say, I have like the worst life ever, or I'm gonna sabotage myself this way, or whatever. Like there's so many negative memes out there. There's so much negative thinking out there, and people are like, "Oh, it's just a joke." Oh, that's great, but your subconscious mind doesn't understand that. Your subconscious mind is taking that as face value and saying, yeah, we do suck. We are horrible people. We are blah blah blah, right? Because your subconscious mind can't understand that sarcasm, can't understand that joke. It's an sorry, it's a illogical part of your mind, the primal part of your mind that doesn't understand these things. That's your conscious mind that understands the jokes. It takes everything literally. Oh yeah, I just said that one. So, everything literally, right? Everything literally. Stop telling yourself that you're stupid, that you don't deserve anything good, that you aren't good enough to do these things, that you don't deserve to be happy, that all men are evil, or all women are evil, right? Telling yourself things like this have a major effect on us because your subconscious mind takes it as a blueprint for what it's going to be doing in the future. It creates what I like to call programs. So remember how I said your subconscious mind is like a giant database that's storing all the data that it's collecting? So think of your subconscious mind as like a supercomputer. It's it's using all that data to store it and create different programs that it can run. It's creating different programs that are running throughout the day to make it so you can do things easier or more on autopilot. So you might have like a brush your teeth program. You might have a know how to drive a car program, right? And how many of us are driving cars and thinking about what we're going to be doing for the rest of the day, what we're going to be eating tonight, who we're going to be calling, or what we should be doing when we get to our house or to work, right? We're constantly thinking about different things because our subconscious mind is able to do some of that driving for us. It's able to do some of that through the program it has created. And there's the same way goes, or the same thing happens when we are, eating unhealthy. We have the unhealthy eating program. We have the self-abusive program. We have the addiction program. We have the program where we're drawn to alcohol. We have the program where we do stupid things and stay up all night, right? So what you got to start doing is reprogramming yourself. And a big way you can do that is by changing your thoughts and changing what you're exposed to and what you see and what you hear. And the reason why your thoughts are so important because how often do you're always with yourself, right? So changing the people you're around is important. There's no doubt about that. But you're always with yourself. You're not always with other people, right? So that's the number one thing I think you should focus on if you're going to focus on anything at first is addressing your thoughts and your thinking so that you can start to empower yourself instead of beat yourself down and abuse yourself with the way that you're thinking. The next thing you want to start thinking about is, you know, that visualization. So, or I guess the next technique you can use is what I should have said beyond the affirmations is a vision board. The more times you see something, the more you're going to be drawn to it, right? So that's why vision boards actually can be so powerful. So you want to put these vision boards in places you can see. So they're really just vision boards is really just pictures of things that you want in your life or phrases, so that every time you see it, your mind thinks, "Oh, hey, look, I saw that again. I just saw that yesterday, and I'm seeing it again." I actually have a vision board of my own on my computer screens as my backgrounds. Really, to take it a step further, I could be printing out pictures and putting them on walls in front of me in certain areas that I go to. I put healthy food pictures on my fridge. So every time I go to the fridge, I see that healthy food, right? Do those sorts of things and you start to become, you'll start reprogramming your subconscious mind for something better. Remember, it seeks the familiar. It's always seeking that familiar, that the most repeated thing, because it knows that that's usually what's safest. That's what it's learned. That's what its best job to do is. Okay, the next thing you can do beyond a vision board is actually record your affirmations and listen to them when you're going to bed or when you're waking up. Now, the reason why this is important, the going to bed and waking up portion of it, and you can also listen to like in your car or other times like that, so you don't have to, listen to it throughout the day. When you're going to bed and waking up, your mind is actually switching from its normal brainwave and moving down through theta to its delta sleeping patterns. So there's part of your time when you're going to bed or waking up that your mind is in that hypnosis state. So it's easy to be reprogrammed, and that's why listening to your affirmations at those times can be extremely powerful and can actually speed up the amount of time that you can be able to create those new safe cards or the new programs within your subconscious mind. Okay, so that's something else you can do. If you're on the YouTube or Rumble, you'll see that I always have on my whiteboard "I am enough" on the back. The reason why "I am enough" is important is because it's an affirmation, but it's also telling me that I am enough. I am enough how I am right now, and I can love myself and appreciate myself for who I am right now. And so many people are in a belief that they are not enough, that they're not good enough, that they're not smart enough, that they're not able to, do whatever, right? So that's one way I reprogram myself is I have this written in multiple places. I have this um, also. If you're on the podcast, you won't be able to see this, but my wife painted on the canvas, "I am enough," and I have this right in front of my computer. So whenever I'm on my computer, I see that. I see "I am enough." We wrote "I am enough" on our mirrors. So every time we're looking in the mirror, we see that "I am enough" right there. Powerful, simple, and allows you to start reprogramming yourself for something better, better, a better belief, a better program to run for your subconscious mind. Okay. So another way you can start to deal with those negative thoughts that come in. So those negative thoughts are coming in, right? And it keeps reoccurring. And this is likely going to be what happens is when you are trying to start to use the more positive language, your subconscious mind is going to try to remind you of the negative thinking that we used to do because that was very familiar in your life. So we'll start to try to put in those negative thoughts. You'll start to have those negative thoughts. "Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not handsome enough. I'm not good enough to be in front of all these people," right? So, what can you do to address these? Well, first, what you need to do is acknowledge it. Acknowledge that those thoughts came to your head. It's okay, right? Now that you know how the subconscious mind works, you know why those are coming to your head. You don't have to beat yourself up further for what those negative thoughts came to your head. You know it's because that was what was familiar to you, and that's what is familiar in society is that negative thinking. So accept that came into your head, acknowledge it, and then what you can do is there's a couple different methods. So one you can do is called what I like to call the delete technique. And this delete technique is powerful because it uses visualization, and it allows you to delete these negative thoughts from your head. And that's what I like about it. So usually what I will do is close my eyes, and let's say I have a negative thought that comes to my head and says, I'm not smart enough or whatever, right? I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, and I get into my head. So I acknowledge it, and I see that image on, let's say, a computer screen, right? On a computer monitor, and you see it. Let's say it's on like a Word program, right? And there's that blinking line afterwards, as if it's ready for you to type, and saying, "What is the next command?" After this, we have this statement written down, this negative thought, this thing that says I'm not good enough or I'm not smart enough. And there's a blinking line after, and there's a keyboard in front of you. And the delete key is glowing, and it is, red and blue, and it's calling your name. It's saying, delete me, press me. So you go and press that delete key, and you just watch that word letter by letter just delete. Allow yourself to feel the release. Feel that feeling of being free from that negative thought. And then take it a step further and pretend like you're typing something in, a better thought. If the thought was, I am not good enough, then you can say, I am enough. If the thought was, I am I am broken, or I'm stupid, change it to, I am very capable of, learning. I'm very capable of doing anything I put my mind to. And use that visualization to create something better for yourself and to delete that negative thought. And if it comes back, that's okay, because you can just delete it again. You can use this for techniques when someone says something negative to you. You walk in a building and someone says, "Oh man, you don't look well. What's happening to you?" Delete that sucker. Delete it right out of your mind. You don't want that kind of stuff in your mind. Trust me. Okay, so what else can you do instead of that? Well, that is a very powerful one because it uses that visualization. And if you use your emotions and the feelings, it's very powerful, right? So I highly recommend you give that one a try. The next one you can try is just what's called the repetition. So if you have those negative thoughts come to your head, start to repeat a phrase that is positive. Start to sing a song that has a positive tune. You can just make up the song as you want. Like, I am healthy, I am healthy, yes I am, yes I am. I am oh so healthy, I am so so healthy, yes I am, yes I am. You can just use that simple phrase or that simple tune and change it up so much. I am powerful, yes indeed, yes indeed. I am oh so strong. I am oh so strong. Yes, indeed. You know, so you can change, and you can find any tune and just add in your own words, right? If you haven't done that very often, the more you do it, the easier it's going to get. I used to believe that I wasn't very good at singing and I would avoid it. Um, I might not be amazing at singing, or I may not be, a professional singer, but I find myself singing more often now because I gave myself that confidence, and I told myself I was okay at it. I told myself I was good at it, and I just started doing it more often, and now I'm able to do it very easily, and I can just make up random songs. And I actually find myself, like, if I'm in the car, I don't listen to my own music. I don't listen to, or so I don't listen to music. I don't listen to anything actually. I either do affirmations, or I'm singing, I'm making up some kind of song based on whatever tune I feel like that day, with affirmations built in. And actually, I rather enjoy it. Um, People probably would think I'm weird, but who cares? It helps me. It makes me. it's a good use of my time while I'm in the car. And it's something you can do as well. Start to, sing and start to use those affirmations in a way that you can distract your mind, your subconscious mind, from something negative. Or if if you're constantly having those negative thoughts, your mind can only really focus on one thing at one time. So that's why singing or by repeating the affirmation, it can be very powerful. And you might still find your subconscious mind trying to interject, but that's okay. Accept it and keep going, right? It's not that you're broken or there's something wrong with you if that happens, right? That's just the way the subconscious mind works. And if you let yourself get frustrated by it and then focus on that, you're that thought that came back, it's just going to keep recurring more and more frequently because you let it give that emotion and that frustration. So instead, focus on the better the better affirmations, the better thought, the song that you can create in your head. Start to visualize, and you can actually do something else. Another method which I just thought of is go to your happy place. And actually, I guess it's not really something I thought of because it's a pretty well known thing. Go to your happy place. Imagine all the good things happening. Wherever that happy place may be. It might be a vacation you've gone to. Maybe be someplace you've never been before. Maybe a place that you used to go in as a child and it made you feel good and comfortable, right? Use a happy place. Use the delete technique. Use um, songs or repeated affirmations, and repeat those things so that you can't, you know, hear those things. And you know, for the songs or the repeated one, that's called the substitution technique. So you're literally just substituting that negative thing for something better, and that's something you can do. It's very simple, very powerful. If you like Harry Potter, there's another one you can do, which is kind of fun. Imagine you're doing your Patronus charm. So that negative thought comes into your head, accept it, say Patronus, and watch your little spirit animal come out and obliterate that negative thought. Watch it get pummeled by, the horse that came out of your mind, or the the ninja turtle, or the cow, or the cat, or whatever your spirit animal might be, right? Um, and yeah, it'd be funny if your spirit animal was a cow or a ninja turtle or whatever. But you can use your imagination because it's your imagination. You can do whatever animal you want. You can do a kung fu panda. You can do whatever, right? Use your imagination, and if you can come up with your own ideas. These are ones that are just out there, but you can come up with your own ideas as long as it involves repetition, or as long as it involves visualization and emotion. Those ideas can be very powerful in overcoming those negative thoughts. So come up with your own thoughts. And for anyone who says they're not visual people, I want you to think about this. And actually, this is a good way to showcase how your subconscious mind can't really interpret negatives. So I want you not to think of a purple elephant balancing on a lime green rug with a giant yellow lemon balancing on his trunk. If you're very likely are going to be, you know, picturing that, even though I said don't do it. Don't picture that purple elephant balancing on the lime green rug, balancing a giant lemon on his trunk. A giant yellow lemon, right? You very likely saw that and picture that in your head because there's your subconscious mind is drawn to that visualization, to those descriptive words. And that's how you can use it in your favor. Start to use visualization in your favor. And a way you can understand how emotions are very impactful in the subconscious mind. For anyone who's had a very traumatic experience, a very emotional experience, right? How often does that experience come into your head? There's so many people who live with the trauma of being, molested, or raped, or assaulted, or being made fun of, or bullying, or whatever, right? There's a reason why your subconscious mind gets drawn to it, and that keeps the thought, that scene keeps getting replayed over and over in your head, and why so many things can remind you of it, because your subconscious mind got influenced by that emotion and became a very visualized and descriptive scene that essentially like made a program within your subconscious mind to protect you. So it and it's odd, but that's the way your mind works, right? So that's why these traumatic experiences are so hard to get over. So I think I gave you guys some good points here. The subconscious mind is the most powerful part of your mind. 90 to 95% of your brain power. 11 million pieces of information a second. It it influences our daily actions and thoughts. It controls all of our bodily systems. It is always listening and learning. 24/7, never stop scanning that environment, right? 'Cause it's always seeking the familiar. It's always trying to create those safeguards. It can't tell the difference between fiction and reality. It can't interpret negatives. It understands commands in the present tense only, and it takes everything literally. So if you take what you've learned here today and start to move out into your life and start to cut out those negative influences, start to push those aside and stop putting them in your line of sight, in your, you know, stop listening to the negative things, stop watching the negative things, you're going to notice a big change, especially if you start to add in those positive ones as well. If you start to add in the visualization, the vision boards, the pictures around the house, the words written out, maybe on your mirror or on a whiteboard, or on a sticky note someplace that you look at very often, right? These are ways that you can start to reprogram your mind. You start listening to those affirmations and record them and listen to them. You can start singing songs. You can start doing all these different things to address them. And if you have those negative thoughts, use the delete technique, use the substitution technique, use visualization, use a Patronus charm, right? Use any of these things to make it so that you can start to reprogram yourself. Now, there are solutions. Don't just allow yourself to feel like you are a broken individual, like there's nothing you can do, and that this is just your life the rest of the time. Because it's not. Now that you know better, now that you know how you're influenced, you can take actions. You can actually start moving towards that life you want. And you'll notice it's going to get easier. You're going to have less resistance, especially if you start taking out those negative influences out of your life. And you start replacing with the positive influences. Start creating those new programs. Start reprogramming your mind. Start giving yourself a better safeguard to work towards, a better safe thing for your subconscious mind to accept into its brain and its recordings. Don't allow yourself to go down that path of negativity any longer. And I want to address the fact that I think a lot of people say, "Oh, only thinking positive is self-sabotage or is wrong." No, it's not. You can still like accept that oh, this situation may not have been the best. This situation may have been frustrating or whatever, right? Doesn't mean you have to just say, "Oh, it's the best. It was the best thing ever that happened to me," right? No, but you can instead of dwelling on and say, "This is the worst thing ever. My day is ruined." Blah 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 blah. You can start to say, you know, this may have not been the ideal outcome, but I'm going to take this and make something better out of it. I'm going to make this a good day. Today is still going to be a good day because I'm going to make it so. That's how you can start using positivity instead of negativity. That's how you can start creating something better for yourself and start using better positive language and, tell yourself you're going to do something now. Don't tell yourself you're going to do something in the future or later on, right? In the now, start doing these things. Start making the changes. And you don't have to do it alone. If you're encountering this and you want to learn, from someone who's been there, someone who understands the subconscious mind on a very deep level, then reach out to me. This is what I work with every day. This is what I teach other people so that they can go make those changes in their life. And I can show you where some of your negative influences might be. I can help you understand where your limiting beliefs are or where those negative beliefs are. I can show you how to reprogram your mind for something better. You don't have to do it alone. You can join a tribe, you can join a group of people that want to make their lives better. Come join. I hope you guys all have a great day, and subscribe. Give this video a like or a thumbs up or a plus sign wherever you are. You know, give me a comment. Let me know if you like this. What techniques you might be using in your life. You know, if you think I forgot anything, let me know. If you think that this doesn't work, or I want to hear why you think this might not work. I want to understand where you are and where you're needing help. Reach out to me. Together we can do this. Listen to my other podcasts. I give lots of different information that you can use, different techniques, different tricks that you can use to overcome self-sabotage. Anyways, once again, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. Get out there, start reprogramming your subconscious mind. Start creating those new safeguards for you and your subconscious mind to work towards. So that way you and your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, your conscious mind can work together. They can work together towards what you want instead of fighting each other and creating that self-sabotage, the self-sabotaging actions that you're experiencing. Remember, there's ways forward. You don't have to be stuck. You don't have to feel like there's something wrong with you. You don't have to feel like there's nothing you can do to change it. There are. Don't let yourself believe that. All right. Bye now.